Hey, hope you're doing well out there. Thanks for coming back. We're going to look at the astrology for this week real fast. I appreciate your viewership. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Um, yeah, I hope you're doing good. I personally I was sick all week and having a bad time in general, pretty much since the Venus Saturn square. So it's I've been pretty delirious all week and just sick and not doing good. So, um, yeah, like my I'm having my Mars return and it's conjunct the Sun. So Mars rules my third house, and the third house, like it's been learning more about the third house being in a third house year, um, and what it can mean. Your neighborhood, your locality, but in a way, it's like where you get sleep or your ability to get any sleep. And with the sun conjunct that, it seems like as soon as the sun goes down, somebody's shining a flashlight in my face. It really is not fun. But I've been getting some sleep at least. But I get bad sleep and I wake up uh, not feeling well. But I think the tides are turning on that for me. Um, I hope so. But okay, let's go to the astrology now. So I thank God that we can look into these mysteries to the glory of His name, Jesus' name. Amen. So this week we start out pretty much with Mercury retrograde. Mercury's retrograde station is kind of on top of the trine to Jupiter and square to Pluto. So I mean, you're seeing the fuel shortages or whatever, and the panic buying and so on. And I think we talked about that last week, or if we didn't, I definitely knew about it. Nothing I could really do about it. I mean, nothing I didn't really do anything to prepare for it because I mean, I'm not really worried about it. But you're definitely seeing that around the world. With Mercury being on top of Pluto, starting to station retrograde, people are anxious and they think they need to get somewhere. But Mercury is going to be going backwards this week. I think that's like the major thing. It's like the Venus square to Jupiter that happens this week. Yep, and the sun makes the trine to Saturn this week too. Um, I think those are the most notable. I mean, I like the seeing the sun trine Saturn because I mean it tells us that um, you know Saturn will move forward eventually, right, or very soon. Or this after this week, Saturn things start to become, I think, a little bit less intractable. Um, yeah, I want to say that Jupiter and Aquarius being so retrograde with this the Saturn in such a mm, not a great condition. I mean, Saturn's kind of an unworkable planet to begin with, right? Um, yeah, Jupiter's kind of like unrecognizable right now in a way. I think severely strapped down with the Saturn things, dealing with the Saturn stuff. So, we're going to see those planets start to move ahead, but I want to say that because I think with Saturn stationing retrograde or stationing direct this month um, first, and then Jupiter, the condition of the whole sign of Aquarius gets a lot better. You see here on Friday at the end of the week, we have Mercury retrograde trining Pluto again. So, people's anxieties about, the anxiety that's causing the panic buying or anything people are doing. I mean, panic buying makes the most sense because like our whole society is like capital oriented, right? So, I mean, people are going to buy up products. Um, okay. All right. So, we'll just start. So, today's Sunday that I'm recording this on. So, I mean, the rest of the day, the moon is in Gemini. The ruler of the sign is stationary. I gotta turn these points off. One sec. Forgot what I was doing. Okay, we're looking at the moon. Okay, so the ruler of the moon is stationary. It's in Venus's sign. Venus is in Mars's sign. Mars is in Venus's sign. So the moon is being upheld by this mutual reception. Mercury is being upheld by this mutual reception. So Mercury is, he's not doesn't have any particular dignity in Libra. So I mean, I think the rest of the day people are just kind of well, usually Gemini moons are like more like social and like I don't know, people being all over the place kind of energy, but like I think that's more subdued right now because I mean Mercury is not really active in the chart. So as we get into what is this Monday, Mercury officially stations retrograde while the moon is in Gemini. So it's fully stationary on Monday. The moon makes the trine to the north node, and the moon makes the square to Neptune and the trine to Jupiter and the trine to Mercury. So I mean, there's like a sense of extreme unclarity that comes in, but also like hopefulness, like in the atmosphere. The moon is connecting to the ruler of its sign by a good aspect. So I mean, we're at least like in a good position to be aware of the Mercury things that are on. But I mean, there's a general confusion in the world. The Mercury's in the ninth house of Washington D.C. right now. If the mundane chart. So I mean, the UN talks are going on right now, and so I mean, all these things have been brought up at that time. I don't know if they're still going to be going on or how long they go on. I think they end on this day actually. But like all the talk that got talked, it's gonna have to be. They're gonna have to go back on a lot of it. And I think Mercury even go retrogrades as far back as the eighth house. I don't really want to even check that, but in the for people in the western side of the United States, that Mercury retrograde is in I think the 11th house. So, I mean, it's a Sagittarius rising. Let's just make this a Sagittarius rising chart so you can see that. So imagine this is just a Sagittarius rising chart for the macro transits. I'm just going to take an example here. So yeah, I mean, this social life or the community of the people or otherwise the government's aid is having Mercury retrograde in it and also Mars in it. So I wouldn't expect people are being very kind to each other whatsoever, or they have anything good to say about each other. That's how it looks to me. But leaving that aside, we'll just keep going. So on Tuesday morning, the moon is void of course. How long is the moon void of course? Yeah, since like midnight until like 8 a.m. The moon goes into Cancer. Moon is in domicile, making a last quarter square to the sun. So, the full moon energy was very strong and somber, generally speaking, subdued. Well, now the moon in Cancer, making the square to the sun and Mars, probably not feeling very good about that. I mean, that's like the first 9 degrees until the moon makes the square, so pretty much all day on Tuesday, I think. Tuesday. Yeah. The moon is not feeling well, not feeling comfortable. I think whatever Mars has been doing in Libra in your chart is especially uncomfortable at this time. That's pretty obvious, though. I don't know what else to say about it. It just doesn't look fun. But the last quarter square generally, it indicates like not, moving forward with activity, but, having a better awareness about you being what really gets the job done, what really moves things forward. So, I mean, it's not really a great time to like take any critical actions, but like I don't know, just the more you can be aware of yourself, I think, at this time, especially with Mars and Libra. Mars and Libra, as a Mars and Libra native, I can say that, Mars and Libra doesn't succeed through violence. Mars and Libra succeeds through keeping the peace, through finding the peace, or finding a solution that isn't explicitly violent, right? Let me tell you a story. So while Mars was in my 12th house, I was having problems with my roommate's dogs. He's got these 2 huskies, and when he's not there, they scream at the top of their lungs, right? So I mean that was causing me sleep problems. Before I could barely sleep. I mean that's kind of exaggeration. I was getting sleep, but it's just such a horrible sound when they do that. And I would yell at. I would yell at him. I would go out in my room, bang on the door, and yell at him. But they really didn't shut up. But so I was kind of perplexed. I was like, what do I do about these dogs? I can't take them out and shoot them. I can't poison them. I can't do anything like that. Reasonably speaking, right? That would be really not good for me. I'd go to jail probably. So I was perplexed, and the property management people are garbaged here. So what can be done, right? But then I realized at some point that I could just throw a bowl of water at them, and they would stop. So like one night I just pitched some water at them, and that was it. So that's kind of like Mars and Libra solutions to problems, It's like a solution that's like not ultimately violent or destructive, but, can involve some force for sure. Like disarming someone or training a martial art that's focused on pushes or shoves or throws. Okay. So the moon in Libra, or moon in Cancer, getting into Wednesday, the moon makes a sextile to Uranus, so, I mean, we've already done that so many times. I don't know what that feels like. I mean, it just doesn't feel exactly like comfy. The moon's like still pretty close to that square to Mars too in the morning, so So the moon makes that trine to what happens? What happens first? Let's look at the aspect list. So in the morning, the moon makes a square to Mars. Venus trines Neptune exactly. The Sun trines Saturn exactly. And, with Venus trine Neptune, right? I mean, I think we'll just be deluding ourselves that we're enjoying any of this, honestly. So yeah, the moon doesn't actually connect to Venus and Neptune until Thursday morning, but I mean, I think the most of that transit for the Americans will be there on like Wednesday afternoon. So I mean, you know, with the moon in Cancer there, I mean, it just looks like kind of like laying in bed all day, not really enjoying yourself, getting lost in the sauce type of vibes. I mean, that might just be me, but hopefully I'm not sick on that anymore. Hopefully I get better before then. I don't want to be doing that. That's kind of like the energy. So the moon is also opposing Pluto. Venus is approaching the sextile to Pluto by now. So, I mean, this looks kind of dangerous, even. I mean, people might want to be, like, feeling comfortable doing some dangerous stuff, maybe. But, maybe not. Probably not. Moon in Cancer is very defensive and sensitive. So we get into we get into Thursday morning, and the moon opposes Pluto and makes a square to Mercury. So this is when we really see that come to a head for the first time, the Mercury retrograde Pluto thing. It really gets into our emotions on Thursday morning. Just Pluto can bring that sense of awful dread, and like squares to Mercury can cause bad interactions. So I mean, this could be like really when the you start seeing the horrible stuff happen at the stores or something like that. People just killing each other at Walmart or something. So I mean, Thursday looks pretty darn uncomfortable. The moon is void of course all day after that square to Mercury. So I mean, I don't know. I think people will just be interacting really badly, even if it's not like explicitly like violent. But we got that Venus square to Jupiter. I think this kind of sweetens the moment a little bit. The two benefics making a connection definitely is something we want to see happen. So, I mean, at least they're making a connection. I don't know if we even really feel that too strongly. I don't really see the moon touching that very much. Until Saturday, the moon makes the opposition to Jupiter in the square to Venus, so maybe like the way we're like finding business success and pleasure at this time, if we want to be very general about it, I don't know. I don't think it works that well, but we'll see. So on the end of the day, the moon goes into Leo. Okay. So the moon goes into Leo at the end of that day. I think that's the end of Thursday. Gosh. Yeah. Here's that exact Mercury retrograde square Pluto again. So the moon in Leo, making a trine to the south node in Sag. I think we kind of want to sit in our comfort zone, but, it's a very uncomfortable moment with the opposition to the moon. And then Mercury squaring Pluto right there, so probably like we feel the restrictions or the privations more strongly at this time. And if there is like a crisis, it happens like at this time. So the moon makes a sextile to the sun and a sextile to Mars pretty quickly in succession. So, I think after that, like, probably pretty uncomfortable morning times, the moon is at least, like, in this good configuration to the sun and Mars. So, I don't know. I don't think anybody, I don't know. With the way Mars is right there, I've been sick, so I haven't been able to get anything done. But, I mean, I want to say loosely, there's like people generally can get more things done here, even though Mars being under the beams and in Libra is like a very debilitated Mars. And the moon makes the square to Uranus at the end of the day too, so I don't know. I think there's an emotional sense of boldly doing differently. That's pretty obvious though. But as we get into Saturday, the Venus makes a sextile to Pluto, which I don't really know what that means. And then the moon makes an opposition to Jupiter, makes it a sextile to Mercury retrograde, and the moon makes the square to Venus. Now the sun is in fall here and being ruled by Venus in Scorpio. And I don't really know anything about the balance dignities yet. I wish I did. Probably tell me a bit more about whether this would be okay or not, but at least the mutual reception thing is like still on the table. That's like a weird saving grace of like the past couple weeks' charts. Sorry, y'all. I'm like forgetting what I'm doing. I'm sleep deprived and not still sick, but like I don't know. Saturday. The moon opposite Jupiter. That's you want the moon to touch Jupiter for sure, but like, wait, where'd it go? Okay, Saturday. So, the moon is like pretty close to an aspect to both the benefics at the same time. So, I think that's like uplifting for the moon. It's like a sense of like being able to find some enjoyment, but at the same time, like, not really. Not really. But I think the drive to get something fun is there. We want that. Maybe like a new game comes out at this time. I'm not really much of a gamer, but that is how people find fun these days. So, especially now. So, looks like fun games times. Maybe, I don't know. I like board games. I hope I get to play some board games, maybe. That'd be cool. But I don't know. I think the sense of pleasure is kind of elusive. And then the moon is void of course off of that. All right. So I mean, probably not the worst time, and probably one of the better days out of the week. Honestly, I mean, all week we're kind of like building up to these like weird things with Mercury, kind of have to play out with Mercury being stationary and then like square to Pluto on Friday. You know, if the sun is royalty and the Saturn is seriousness, then it's like a sense of royal seriousness is in the air, maybe in the middle of the week. But I don't know. I think people are spending their money on serious things at this time. People are probably stocking up. I don't blame them. All right, let's take a little look at next week, and then we'll stop. So next week, Mercury squares or trines Jupiter again, which is fine. That's good. That's good stuff. Pluto stations direct on the new moon. That's so weird. Venus goes into Sagittarius, and we have the Mars Sun cazimi. So, and then the Mercury Mars conjunction happens too, and the Sun. Oh, and the Sun cazimi, Mercury Sun cazimi. So that happens pretty quick, honestly. It's not even that long of a time between Mercury retrograde and the cazimi, or maybe it is. No, it totally is. It's like the end of the week. It's like 2 weeks. It's normal. I don't think it's ever really even different. I'm just a little delirious. Oh, and you got Saturn stationing direct next week too, so that'll be good. I mean, the tides sort of turn, and with the new moon on next week being so close to the sun and Mercury, I mean, we have new seeds for that, and I'd like to make another new moon video at that time, and I hope to. So, okay, y'all. God bless you. I hope that was helpful. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.